the University of Technology, Sydney, as well as any questions related to, Sydney and life in Australia. So with that, I'll turn things over to Lisa.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen so you guys can see the presentation today. 1 second. Okay. Can everybody see? Yeah. Okay, great. So my name is Lisa Berry, and I work with the University of Technology, Sydney, and we're partnered with University of Arizona. And it's a special partnership for me because I'm actually an Arizona Wildcat myself. So it's really great and exciting to get to share all about UTS with you. And hopefully this will be the start of your exchange journey to Australia. So what we're going to be covering today is why Sydney, then why UTS, the UTS campus, what can I study, where can I live, and then also different aspects of UTS life and support, and then next steps. Okay, so let's start with the destination first. So why Sydney? So Sydney is constantly ranked really highly in livability because it's just such a great juxtaposition between city and outdoor space. It's a really safe city to live with lots of public transportation options. And as you can see, UTS is in the heart of all of the action. The big city skyline, that's called our CBD, the Central Business District. And in just about 10 minutes, you can hop on a light rail and then be able to be at the Sydney Opera House. So it's a really cool location. We're an urban campus, so we don't have a big sprawling green campus, but we make up for it in other ways, which I'll show you in just a minute. We're also really close to the Royal National Park, which is just south, as well as a lot of beautiful outdoor garden space. So if you're feeling walled in by the city, you can easily escape to some lush greenery quite easily. Now, Sydney, as well as a very cosmopolitan city, there's always exciting events going on, including concerts and cultural events. We're also very close to nature. So as you can see from the map, while we are a city campus, you can jump on a bus or a train and be along the coast in about 20 to 25 minutes, which is really convenient. In Australia, there's a lot of adorable, friendly wildlife. You're not going to see koalas just in the park, beside your dorm, or, just kangaroos hopping down the street. But you can easily get out into nature by just hopping on the train and be able to see this, gorgeous, unique wildlife up close. And the animals in Australia are very cute. And then there's always things to do and see. Right there, you can see students hiking across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And it's a bit nerve-wracking. I've done it before, but you do get some gorgeous views of the city. And there's just so many attractions and fun things for students to do. During the first few months of the semester, Activate UTS, which is kind of like our student union, they organize student events off campus where you can actually go to the zoo, go on hiking trips, and do a lot of fun things around the area. So it's a great way for you to meet other students as well from around the world. Now, everybody loves Sydney because of the beaches, which are quite spectacular. In the top left, you can see Bondi Beach. A lot of the ocean beaches around Sydney also have rock pools. So if you're not comfortable swimming in the ocean, you can always cool off in one of the really stunning and scenic rock pools that are adjacent to the ocean. At the bottom is Hunter Valley. A lot of people don't realize that Australia has a lot of really lush countryside. So you can quickly escape from the city to do some wine tasting or visit some really cute and charming local towns, which is really exciting. You can also see the Blue Mountains in the top right. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a great place for hiking, seeing those cute and cuddly Australian animals, and being able to step out into nature. And then, of course, the Sydney Opera House, one of the most iconic buildings in the world. There's always concerts, and they're actually quite affordable options if you want to go see some live theater there. Now, Australia is a very multicultural place. Most people are quite surprised when they come. 1 out of every 4 Australians, myself included, was born overseas. And with that comes a lot of really incredible worldwide cuisine. So you can really taste the globe just by being in Sydney. There's a lot of international art fairs as well and unique exhibits throughout the year. The one at the bottom, which is really fascinating, is called Sculpture by the Sea. There's a famous coastal walk called the Bondi to Coogee Walk. And during the year, the sculptures are presented along the coastline. So it's a really unique way to see art. Australia also has a really unique history. It's home to the oldest living culture on Earth, the Aboriginal people, which dates back 60,000 years. And there's so many ways at UTS and in Sydney to get to learn about this culture. And we really encourage it as well. Now, Sydney is very diverse. There's so many things to see and do. And just outside UTS's doorstep, you can find Haymarket, which has a lot of the old historical shops and markets. There's also Chinatown, which has some amazing eats. If you need any recommendations, our global mobility team has our favorite dumpling spot that we go to almost weekly. The building here that kind of looks like a bird's nest, that's a really cool, new, interesting food court right on the water. And then Paddy's Market is a great place to get all of your souvenirs. And pretty much a 10-minute walk takes you to Town Hall or the waterfront, which is great. Now you can see the UTS Tower peeking behind what is called Central Park. That's this kind of interesting leafy green building. So UTS, our tower building, it's an iconic Sydney landmark. We jokingly say it's the ugliest tower in Sydney, UTS, but it is surrounded by a lot of really amazing buildings. Here in Central Park, you can find a grocery store, a movie theater, and a lot of things that you can maybe use to deck out your dorm room or living space. There's also a lot of really interesting dining options around campus, art galleries. It's a really fun and a vibrant area to live. So now we'll move on from Sydney and we'll talk about why UTS. So every year we receive quite a lot of exchange and study abroad students from around the world. So about 1,200. Which is great. You're not just going to be meeting Australian students, but you're going to be meeting students from all over Europe, South America, Central America, all over Asia. So it's really a unique place to be, which is fun because then you'll be able to, have someone where you can couch surf pretty much around the world after your exchange semester. So we're the #1 young university in Australia, which means we're under 50 years old. And we do have 250 partners worldwide. So you're going to be meeting students from every corner of the earth, which is quite fun. Now, something that's really exciting, UTS was just named the 90th university in the world, which we're quite proud of. So we're a top ranking university, but what we're even more proud of is in the Times Higher Education ranking, which says we're #2 in Australia and 15th globally for global impact, which is aligned with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So that means we're really making a social and environmental impact. And again, Sydney is just a really great place to live. So you'll be quite at home at UTS and in Sydney. So now more specifically about UTS, we're a really young, innovative university. People often hear the name technology and they just assume that maybe we only are, in the STEM areas, but we really have faculties across all different learning areas. We're a large university of about 44,000 students, and we have quite a comprehensive program of different study areas, but we just try and make ourselves really approachable, really friendly, and just try and infuse every aspect of learning with creativity and innovation. Now, the learning style at UTS is a bit different to other places around the world. We did have a big university renovation, which I'll talk about in a minute, of the campus. But one of the things we did was we got rid of a lot of really large lecture halls. So teaching and learning is very small and collaborative. You might have a lecture that's recorded or online, but then you have several different breakout groups throughout the week for a specific class. So it's really hands-on learning, and we really try and prepare students for the real world. So our campus itself, we've had a $1 billion+ investment in renovation, which I'll show you some exciting buildings in just a minute. But we are a porous campus, which means we try and invite the local industry into UTS. And then in return, that means our students can go out and get engaged with the local community, businesses, and industry leaders. And as I mentioned, we have a unique learning approach. and we're centrally located to everything. So again, you can jump on a light rail, a train, a bus, and be to some really interesting destinations quite easily. So as again, our campus is always evolving. In Australia, you'll find out we have a lot of slang terms as well as nicknames for everything. So of course, we had to give our buildings nicknames. So the top left, that's the Dr. Chow Chuk Wing building, which is our business school, but we call it the paper bag because it looks like a crumpled paper bag. And that was designed by Frank Gehry. On the right, we have what we call the cheese grater. That's our engineering faculty, and it's covered in a very unique texture that's actually a Doppler code for faculty, not Doppler code, code for Faculty of Engineering and IT. And just below is our Faculty of Science, and that's modeled after the Doppler wave. So we call that the wave building. So a lot of unique learning spaces and buildings for students to be able to collaborate and also have a really unique learning experience. Just below is our newest building, UTS Broadway, and that was built during the pandemic. So it's actually very fresh since a lot of students weren't able to access the building for quite some time. So it's still good as new. There you'll find our law faculty, a food court, and also our UTS reading room and library. And then we also have a new Hive Super Lab, which is a really cool learning space as well. So what can I study? So there's so many options at UTS for you to study. So here's kind of a list of the different subject areas that we have. And we also have a pre-approved list, which is quite handy for students. So if you go on the UA Sydney webpage, you'll be able to see all of the classes that have been matched already for you, which is really helpful. So I'd really recommend checking out their website first. But then you can also come to our academic and study site as well to see our pre-approved list. What that means is every subject on that list, students don't need to apply to be able to enroll. They're automatically approved by UTS to take the class. And you can mix and match across all faculties. If you're studying something in science at Arizona, you are at UTS welcome as long as it fits within your study plan and course progression to take classes in all of the different study areas. Now, just a few highlights to mention. So UTS is a leader in the field of data science, AI, and intelligence and creativity technology. And then we do have some unique learning spaces as well. So in forensic science, we have a crime scene lab where students can actually solve a crime. We also have a body farm, which is located in the Blue Mountains, which I mentioned earlier, where students can actually go see real decomposition of bodies. And if they're studying anything in the field of forensic science, they can, help kind of solve a hypothetical crime by looking at the bodies there. We also have sport and exercise science as well. That is located in the Moore Park precinct. So we do have a smaller campus, just about a 15-minute light rail away from the main UTS campus. And what's unique about this space is it's located actually on the same site as all the professional sporting fields, including the cricket stadium, as well as the Rugby Australia Stadium. And they actually have their offices in the UTS building. So you're going to be learning alongside professional athletes, which is really interesting and exciting. So on our website, just to give you a quick way to navigate, we recommend students starting with a pre-approved subject list first. That's how you'll be able to see the list that you can enroll into straight away. You can also check out our subject guides by faculty. All the subjects in these guides will be higher level subjects. So if you're a junior or a senior and you're a bit farther along in your degree, you'll be able to find your subject options there. Some of them do require faculty approval. So you'd be just after you're admitted to UTS, you would just submit a request for the faculty. They look at your transcript just to make sure that you have the required prior knowledge to get into a class. And then if you still aren't finding what you're looking for, you can always go in the handbook and we can help guide you through the handbook to try and find alternatives as well. Now, where can I live? So we do have a student dorm on campus. Study abroad and exchange students, we reserve 150 beds, but we do get about 600 students coming every semester. So there aren't enough space in the UTS dorms for everybody, but we do help students find off-campus accommodation as well. surrounding UTS, there's quite a lot of other universities in the area. So there are dedicated student apartments that students can rent independently, but we can guide you, and our UTS housing service can help guide you through that process. But we do recommend that you try to get into UTS housing by applying on the day it opens, and we'll be sure to keep you up to date on those dates. But UTS housing gets rave reviews from students. There's lots of different room configurations. There's a rooftop deck with great views of the city for barbecuing, and it's a really fun way to meet other students as well. Okay, now a little bit about life on campus and student support. So for student services, as you can see, as a large university, we do offer various types of supports to students. UTS International, that's where our offices are. We have drop-in times, or you can book an online appointment with us, and we can help you get sorted if you arrive and you still have some questions about where you're going to live or your classes, so we can help you with that. There's a UPass peer tutoring program if you're struggling with a class. We always recommend that students reach out to us early if they're needing any help, just so we can kind of get a problem resolved early before it becomes a big problem. We also have an accessibility service, so if you need any modifications or support throughout the semester, we recommend that you register with accessibility before you arrive. There's financial assistance, free counseling service. We have a GP medical service on campus for students, as well as other support as well. So we have a program called Helps as well. They help you with essay writing. If kind of the teaching or learning style is a bit different and you're just kind of having difficulty adapting, they can help you with assignments and get you, feeling confident in your ability to, submit work at UTS. They also have a lot of networking events. They have a buddy program and community dinners. So they really try and help make a safe and collaborative space for all students. Now at UTS too, we have so many different clubs and activities. And when you arrive for orientation, we plan our on-campus orientation day on the same day as club day. So straight from our orientation, you get to go and see all the different types of clubs. There's really something for everybody between sports clubs, professional clubs, political clubs, and just recreational clubs. If you have an interest, guaranteed there will be a club to match it. And Activate Sport, that's our student gym. So students get a discounted membership there for the semester. It's a really great facility. I go to the gym there. They have so many different classes, as well as really good facilities too. Once a week, there's a Night Owl Noodle Bar for students where we give out a free dinner. And it's also in conjunction with a really good organization that helps asylum seekers. So it's a great way to give back and then also enjoy a free dinner as well. So now at UTS, beyond the classroom, obviously, it's important to study, it's important to travel while, you're in Australia, but there's also some really great ways to really maximize your experience while you're at UTS. So we are offering a lot of different extracurricular programs for students. The first one is the UTS Soul Badge, and this is a way for students to give back as well as get to know the local community where they're studying. So it's really a great volunteering program. And the US is called kind of service learning, so it's the same thing. And at the end, you do get a badge and a recommendation letter once you complete the program. It's a great way to meet local students as well. So domestic Australian students also participate in this program, as well as study abroad students. There's also the Build program as well, which is a global leadership program. And it's a way for students to kind of get to learn about themselves, learn about being, a global citizen and working on the global stage as a professional later after they've graduated. So it's a really great opportunity to get involved in a different type of way and learn a lot about yourself in the process. And as well, you get a recommendation letter and certificate at the end. A lot of our study abroad and exchange students participate in the Build program, and they really, really enjoy it. They do a lot of excursions, a lot of activities, and have a lot of fun events as well. And now there's also the UTS Startup program, which is really exciting. One of our previous study abroad students actually launched their own business while at UTS through the help of UTS startups. They've now gone back to Denmark, but they're still operating their business, which is really exciting. So if you're a budding entrepreneur or just want to learn more about, launching a business, how to do it, Even if you're just curious, you're welcome to join the Startups program. They have a happy hour every Friday, sponsored by AWS, with pizza and drinks, and they have really unique guest speakers come. So you can get a really good perspective on what it's like to start a business while you're in the exchange and study abroad program, which is quite cool. And then lastly, we have an ambassador program every year. So we recruit 2 exchange or study abroad students from each cohort. And these students help plan events, bring students together. If students are struggling to get to know people, they reach out. And it's a great opportunity for students to kind of have a contact within their cohort. And our 2 ambassadors also do a lot of social media posts, and we give them professional training as well. And then at the end, they also get a LinkedIn recommendation, which is great, as well as, some UTS swag and whatnot. Okay, so there's quite a lot of next steps that lead up into your journey. But of course, talk to the UA Sydney team, understand what the program entails, what you need to do, what the process is like on their end. That's going to be your first step. And then we highly recommend you check out our blog. We have so many student stories on the blog, so you really get a taste for what life is like at UTS and Sydney and then Australia as a country, which is great. And then also our Instagram page is a good place to go as well, just to see what students are posting, what they're doing. And we're always jealous of our students, when we're in our office working and we see them traveling all over the country and enjoying their time. So they really, maximize their time while they're here. So here's just a little sample of a student video that's on our Instagram. Okay, and then one last thing as well. So before students leave for Australia, we've created this really cool platform called Culture Connect, and we've actually just made a video about it, which is on our website now too, which really gives you a good overview of what this program's like. So about 6 weeks before the program starts, we launch the Culture Connect platform, and that way you get to meet students in the Study Abroad and Exchange program before you even arrive. A lot of people create different sorts of chats and ways to get to know people. There's also ways to get to know Australia as well. We tell you what to pack, what you need to bring, how to prepare. So it's a really great opportunity for you to kind of get immersed in Sydney and UTS before you even arrive. So we try and make it as comprehensive as possible for you. So now I see that there's been some questions in the chat. Sorry, I haven't been answering them as I've been going along, but we can go through questions now. If anybody has any of these, burning questions, I'm happy to answer them all for you already. Let me see. Oh, it looks like Mariah's been answering some questions. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was just gonna pop in if you don't mind. There's one question in here I was just typing a response to.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Eli was asking, how long are the study abroad terms? And so Eli, you kind of in our terms, it's usually one semester. So you would either go in our fall or our spring. But another student might have brought up that you could also go abroad for the full academic year. And that is true. You can do that too if you would like to.
Yeah, definitely. And just remember that our seasons are opposite in Australia, which when I moved over, it still confuses me, I'll be honest. But yeah, so your fall is our spring and our spring is your fall. Yeah, it's just all reversed since we're in the Southern Hemisphere. So just keep that in mind. If you're seeing dates and comms on our end, just flip it for Arizona.
And if that's confusing at all, just ask us in the study abroad office, because we are a little bit more used to this now.
Yes.
We know that this is something we're thinking about. When you look on the UA Sydney webpage, which I did drop a link for in the chat, If you can go under academics and see a list of a ton of pre-approved courses, and we put them in a fall and spring category. We've already flipped those terms for you. So what you're seeing under spring is actually what we know as spring, autumn in Australia, and what you see under fall is what we know as fall, which would be spring in Australia. So you shouldn't have to worry too much about that, flipping those kind of seasons, maybe until you're looking at a UTS website.
Mhm.
And
Let's see, there's a question about do U of A courses like coincide well to UTS courses? Yeah, really well. You'll get all of your classes, approved before you arrive. So you'll know for a fact that things will credit back to U of A. So I know Mariah is very, very good at doing all of the matching. So you don't have to worry about, you turning up back at U of A after your semester and being like, this didn't cover what I needed it to cover. So it's quite comprehensive, the matching that gets done behind the scenes.
yeah, and the good news is, of course, because UTS is a full university, there's a huge catalog for you to choose from. So even if you don't see a very specific class you might need, already on the U of A's UA Sydney website, you can still look through the UTS catalog and still look for more courses. So that's one of my favorite things about this program is there's actually kind of endless options for you. And part of your application process, just like Lisa mentioned, is to get those courses pre-approved. So you'll know before you even get to Australia how your courses are going to transfer back to the U of A and how those courses will satisfy requirements within your major or your gen eds or your minor.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions about Sydney, UTS, anything I can answer for you? Hopefully I covered everything.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much. Oh, it looks like there's one more question here.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you can take a shot at this, Lisa, from your personal experience. Do you prefer the spring or fall semester?
Oh, let's see. So right now we're in spring for UTS. And we just had a really, really nice winter this year. It was beautiful. Like it's winter right now and it's a bit chilly today, but our students are just loving it because it's like in the 70s. So, it might be a little bit too chilly to swim, but I know some students are swimming and getting involved. We offer a surf camp for students that's going to be starting soon. So you can still get in the ocean if you have a wetsuit on, and it's just been beautiful recently. So I personally like UTS's spring. But the fall semester is lovely as well. It starts at the summer and then kind of cools down a bit, and then you end in the winter time in Australia. So both are pretty good. We have a really mild climate here. Think of it kind of like San Diego weather. That's kind of how it is, where there's really not a bad time to go, but I do like the spring. That's my personal favorite.
And then Eli, just kind of from an academic standpoint, whether fall or spring is better, I would always suggest to any student is ask your academic advisor. They might be thinking about like prerequisites and certain things within your major that they might want you to accomplish before you study abroad, just to help set you up better for your study abroad classes. Or they might look at your academic plan and say, it doesn't matter, you can go whenever you want. It really truly comes down to kind of, planning ahead and working with your advisor. So it's just a few different ways to look at it.
Definitely.
Let me answer this one, Juliet. I think you're talking about a global track. So we have global tracks for a handful of majors. Let me drop the link to the global tracks webpage. And what that is that means a department has pre-approved a handful of classes and then put them on a document to explain exactly how those classes satisfy requirements within that major. The communication major does have global tracks at a handful of programs. They don't have one published for UA Sydney, but that absolutely doesn't mean that this isn't a perfect program. The good news about communication is there's courses for comm majors at almost all of our programs. So Sydney's still a really good place for you to go. We just don't have that handy document on paper that you're looking for. Let me take another look through these questions. I'd be able to meet the study of, oh, Ryan is asking if you can meet the study abroad advisor to talk about UA Sydney. Absolutely, yes. We actually have Michelle Turner. She is sitting in on the session with us, but you can schedule an appointment with Michelle directly on our UA Sydney page. So let me drop the link for that again. And there's a button right on the page that says, oh, I am giving you incorrect information. I don't see that button on our webpage. So maybe Michelle, if you don't mind, maybe dropping in your email address or the best way for students to get a hold of you, and we'll get that fixed on the website. Ryan, I apologize for that.
Yes, the best way right now would be to email me and we will coordinate a time. I'm just not set up in the online scheduler yet. So you can send me an email if you'd like to set up an appointment to talk about UA Sydney.
Awesome.
Let's see. It looks like the next one, Eli, you're asking for a pre-approved subject list. That is hyperlinked right on our UA Sydney webpage. So take a look at this page right here. And you'll see a ton of courses that are pre-approved to transfer to the U of A, as well as a pre-approved list that UTS has put together for you, which essentially means they're open to study abroad students. There generally are not a lot of prerequisites. We have taken most of those and articulated them and put them on our webpage, but there could be some ones that we don't have showing on our webpage. So there's definitely more classes you can kind of dig into. And that's something that Michelle can help you do, and your academic advisor can answer some questions about that too.
These have been some great questions, guys. Anything else?
Juliet, did I answer your question about global tracks for communication? My best piece of advice is to send an email to your communication advisor and just let them know that you're interested in the Sydney program, and they can help kind of look through our page and let you know which kinds of courses you should be looking for. All right, any other questions? Well, Lisa, thank you so much for your time. For the students here who maybe if you haven't thought about this yet, Lisa is a whole day ahead of us. It's early morning on Friday for her. So thank you for joining on a Friday morning, even though it's Thursday evening for us. And yeah, if you have any other questions, reach out to the Study Abroad office anytime. That's what we're here for. And with that, thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, everybody. We hope to see you in Sydney one day. It'd be so great. Take care. Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks, Lisa.